What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve again with Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Coming back to with another video, and in today's video, I'm going to introduce you to Dave Koziel. Dave's going to talk to you about his experience on eBay getting kicked off. He actually got his account banned or suspended. He can't list anymore. He can't sell on eBay anymore. And he's going to share with you his experience in terms of how this all happened, what you can do to avoid this, and how to kind of better prepare for maybe the beginner or somebody who's trying to scale up their eBay business when they first get started. You're going to learn a lot of really valuable things in this video from Dave. He shares, like I said, his whole experience, the good, the bad, and he also talks about how he's going to continue to earn money online without having eBay. At the end of this whole story and video from Dave, it's going to be something that inspires you, that gets you thinking, that motivates you, because that's what it did for me. I really wanted to share this story with you guys. Dave is awesome. He's got a YouTube channel as well, Dave Koziel, and he has a website as well, davekoziel.com. So I'm going to leave links to that in the description area. Make sure to watch this video in full. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to definitely be able to avoid some mistakes if you're new. You're going to get super inspired and motivated to continue to drive forward in your business. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dave Koziel.
Hey guys, I'm Dave Koziel. This past June, after 6 years at working at UPS, I decided to quit my job and start my own business. Starting a business of my own was always a goal of mine, always a dream of mine. I always made excuses though as why I couldn't do it. I was scared, I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to start. But this past June, something was different. I decided now was the time, and I quit. I didn't really have a plan, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I needed to make a move, and I did. I really didn't have a plan, so I did some research. I read some blogs, listened to some podcasts, did some Googling, and I ended up finding out about this reselling thing. It sounded pretty cool and it sounded like something I could do, so I decided to give it a try. And that's when I found this guy, Cody Hawk. I signed up for Cody's coaching program to help jumpstart my business, and it ended up being the best decision of my life. So after working with Cody for a few months and a lot of hard work and a lot of mistakes, I was able to successfully build up a small reselling business on Amazon and eBay where I was making anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a month in profit. Everything was great until I got a message from eBay. Your seller level is below standard in the global and US seller performance programs. While your seller level is below standard, funds from your sales may be pending in PayPal for up to 21 days. The search ranking for your items will be lowered, and you may be restricted from selling on eBay if your selling performance doesn't improve. So something happened. I ended up making a lot of mistakes and not even realizing it, getting myself restricted from listing on eBay. And I also got myself in a situation where I could not get myself out of it. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here today to explain to you the mistakes I made that got me restricted from listing on eBay, which essentially crushed my eBay business, has me having to think and come up with other ideas and other strategies to continue my business. Start with the mistakes I made on eBay. 3 ways I'm going to explain to you that I messed up on eBay. I'm sure there's a lot more than that, but we're going to start with these 3. The first mistake I made was I ran before I could walk. Now what does that mean? Well, I just started on eBay, just started reselling a few months previous, and I decided that I wanted to scale up. So what did I do? I hired employees. Before I even actually had a grasp of what I was doing with eBay, I had hired virtual assistants. I hired actual 2 to 3 actual employees to work with me, to come to my office and work with me. And I really didn't know what I was doing myself, but I went ahead and hired them anyways. That was a mistake right off the bat, all right? I tried to go too fast. I tried to scale too fast. The next mistake I made was I didn't pay attention to the little things, all right? I didn't give my employees enough training, and they were making mistakes. And I wasn't catching them. I wasn't checking up on their listings. I wasn't checking up to make sure they were properly testing the items, they were properly cleaning the items, that they were properly describing the items. All the little tiny things that needed to be watched and taken care of, I wasn't paying attention to. And it ended up costing me because there ended up being a lot of mistakes that were made that were not caught. The third thing is I was a bad manager. Okay, and that just leads into what I was talking about before. I wasn't following up with my employees. I wasn't training them properly. I was just letting them go. And I was trying to grow my Amazon business and my eBay business at the same time. I actually went from going 1 month to about $2,000 in total sales between them to the next month going up to $13,000 in sales between both. And that was just too much growth too fast, all right? I could not keep track of everything, and I just basically let my employees go. I let them do their thing. And while they did the best job they could, it was my fault for not properly managing them and training them and following up with them. The next thing that I didn't do was I didn't check my seller dashboard. For all of you who are experienced eBay sellers, you probably already know about this, but I didn't. All right, your seller dashboard is something that you can go into on eBay. If you go log in, then you go under your account, and it shows you all of your defects, okay? Defects are any time that there's an error on one of your transactions, it counts against you and it adds up. So for example, if you get a negative feedback, that's obviously a defect. But what I didn't realize is that there's other things that you can get defects for too that aren't even related to negative feedback. So say that I've sold something and the customer gave me an overall positive feedback. I think it's all good, right? But not necessarily. There's actually 4 subcategories: item is described, communication, shipping time, and shipping price. If they rate you 3 stars or below in one of those categories, that counts as a defect. I was actually getting a lot of defects without even realizing it, because I thought that since I was getting positive feedback that everything was good, but it wasn't. Some customers were giving me positive feedback but giving me a rating of a 3, a 2, and a 1 in item as described, and I didn't even realize it. I also didn't understand about mistakes. There are some mistakes that show up in the seller dashboard. For example, very early on in my eBay selling, I had a customer who gave me the wrong address. His address in eBay was wrong, so I shipped it to that wrong address, and then he reported it as an item not received. Came up as a defect under me and counted against me, but it wasn't my fault. It was actually his fault. And I should have contacted eBay right away about it, but I didn't. And then when I called them after I found out about my below standard status, they had told me that it was too late, that I had waited too long and that they weren't able to fix it. So anytime there's a little mistake or something that you notice in your seller dashboard, you want to call eBay immediately and discuss it with them. They may or may not be able to do something about it, but if you wait, they're definitely not going to be able to do something about it. The last thing that got me in a lot of trouble is I made emotional decisions, okay? I was able, when I first got this letter, I was still able to list items on eBay. They gave me like a small 2-week period to be able to try to fix it. So what did I do? I decided to run a whole bunch of auctions really quick, because the way the seller dashboard works is it rates your percentage of defects. It gives you a percentage for your defects. And as long as your percentage of defects is below 5% of your total transactions, you're good. Well, mine was a little over 5%, so I was just borderline. So what I decided to do was I wanted to pump out positive transactions to lower that defect percentage. So I ran a whole bunch of auctions on my stuff, about 50 to 100, and I wanted to just pump out as many positive transactions as I could. And it was working. All right, I actually had got myself in this little 2-week grace period they gave me. I got myself out of the situation until I made my third mistake, which is I made an emotional decision. I had a customer who ended up giving me 2 negative feedbacks because he purchased 2 shirts for me that he won on an auction and wanted them to combine shipping. And when I combined the shipping, it actually ended up not being a discount because of the way that the items, it was more expensive to ship than if I would have shipped them individually. He argued with me that he wanted a cheaper rate for shipping, and I said, sorry, I can't do that because the shipping is this much. This is what it is. I should have just bit the bullet and gave him a reduced shipping amount, but instead I made the mistake and I didn't. I didn't think it would lead to a negative feedback, but it ended up becoming that. So I got 2 negative feedbacks from this guy, and he also gave me like a 1-star rating in every category, and it just completely destroyed me. And it left me to the point where I could no longer get myself out of that hole, because since I could no longer list on eBay, all of my listings that expired, I couldn't renew either. So as my listings were expiring, my inventory was dwindling, and it dwindled down to the point where it's at 0. Since my inventory is now at 0, I can't list anything else, so I can't have any positive transactions to get my seller status above standard. So now I'm permanently at below standard status. I have no way to get myself out of it because eBay will not allow me to list anything else. I've tried calling them and talking with them. I've tried figuring out ways to get around it, and there's not. I could create some sort of second account. I could do something, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to take a roundabout way to make it happen. I'm just going to fess up to my mistakes and learn from them. Which brings me to the second point I want to make in this video is don't quit, okay? I could have used this situation as a, like a sign, like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, maybe running my own business is for me, maybe I should quit, because this was a huge mistake for me. I was making anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month from eBay. At this point when this happened, I was really focused on eBay and not focused as much on Amazon. So majority of my revenue, income from my business was actually from eBay. So when this went away, my income just plummeted to nothing. And I'm in a situation now where I have to figure out, where am I going to get this money from? How am I going to make more money to be able to support myself, to be able to support my business? Now, luckily, I had a little bit coming in still from Amazon, but it wasn't as much as I had coming in from eBay. But I'm not quitting. all right? The key is I need to find a way to get above this, to get over this, and to make more money. And that leads me to this. First, I want to tell you this quote: you only fail if you quit. I truly believe that. I don't know who created that quote, but that's something I live by. You only fail if you quit. And I wasn't going to quit in this situation. So what did I decide to do? Well, I decided to explore other options. There's so many other options out there that you can get into. All right, there's Kindle publishing. Steve's coming out with this great program, Steve and Cody Hawk, on Kindle publishing that teaches you how to grow a Kindle business with Kindle publishing. So I started to get into Kindle publishing. I decided to start working on my own blog, my own site, davekoziel.com. You know, there's a lot of ways you can make money from affiliate marketing through email marketing. I decided to actually put more emphasis on Amazon. There's actually multiple different ways that you can make money from Amazon. A lot of people know about, you know, selling books and retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, but there's also wholesale, there's also private labeling, there's a whole lot of other options that are available. And this is just 3 of them right there that I'm into. If you actually do a Google search, you could probably find 100 different ways to make money online or in your own business. And that's the key here. I didn't just quit, all right? I didn't just give up and say, you know what, this business didn't work for me. This whole business thing wasn't meant for to be. I kept pushing, I kept going, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm in a situation now where no, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm still hurting from the deficit from losing my eBay income. But you know what? I'm gonna keep pushing, and I'm gonna keep going forward, and I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know how yet. I have some ideas and strategies, but I haven't figured it out yet. This just happened to me within a few weeks. It's put me in a situation where I need to take action, massive action, and fast, and figure it out. Hopefully you learned about the mistakes not to make on eBay, to not get kicked off, to not be able to get restricted from listing. And hopefully you also learned what to do if something like this were to happen. And that is keep pushing, come up with new ideas, and figure out different ways to make other money. Have a backup plan. That's huge, that's important. And I want to say a special thank you to Steve for allowing me to make this video for you guys. You're a great guy, I really appreciate it. And I also want all of you to share this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I will be checking the comments on this video and answer any questions that you have. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Alright guys, well thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the content that Dave Koziel provided for you. I really love Dave because he's true, he's honest, he just shares it how it is, his experiences, and I think it's very valuable when someone shares their experiences, the good, the bad, what really happened, so that we could all learn from it. We're so much stronger when we all stick together, when we learn from one another, and when we just keep pushing forward through all the obstacles. I wanted to thank Dave for coming onto my channel, sharing his story. Hopefully it helped you to learn maybe a few things about getting started with eBay and things to avoid when scaling up, and also motivated you and inspired you to keep pushing forward if things go wrong, because there's definitely other ways to make money out there online like Dave talked about. So thanks again, Dave. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. He's been putting out some really awesome content on a regular basis, and I think it could really help you guys out. So check him out. Links in the description to his YouTube. Check out his website. Thanks again for coming on, Dave, and you know what time it is. Keep on picking and making the money, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.